So moving on to album 493 from Marvin Gaye, entitled "Here, My Dear." Interestingly, this is HERE, as
Hmm.
in "Here,
Here,
My
yeah.
Dear." Um, this album was released on December 15th, 1978, from an imprint of Motown called Tamla. I couldn't tell if that was an L or an I. Tamla Records. It's self-produced. It comes in at 71 minutes and 51 seconds, which is
Hmm.
at this point the longest one, and it will be the longest one until we get to like some of the crazy compilation ones.
Hmm.
Um, this is Marvin Gaye's 15th album in his discography,
I didn't realize he was
and it
so
is
prolific.
yeah, no kidding. It is the number 493rd best album. Now, I believe, spoiler alert, we will see more Marvin Gaye albums on this list. Um,
I,
but this is definitely one of them.
yep, yep.
Um, what did you think about this one?
Hey, it's Kyle, just jumping in real quick to ask, do you approve this groove? Let us know in the comments. Give us a quick thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and join the conversation. I liked it.
Yeah, tell
Yeah.
me more.
I like I said, I've been on a bit of a funk kick for a while now, and this is funky R&B sort of thing. And after listening to the Rufus album, I was in the mood for hopefully something that would scratch that itch. This is the first album that gave me the chills. Like I got goosebumps listening to this album. It's hitting me something about and it wasn't lyrically, it was musically, and I just connected with the music of this album pretty significantly. There was a lot of, I don't know if it was actual jamming, like actual improvisation, or if it was written, but there was a lot of extended instrumental parts to a lot of these songs that I enjoyed listening to. Lyrically, like, I think we talked a little bit about this earlier. This album was basically about his divorce from his wife, and there
Hmm.
wasn't, it didn't have much for me there lyrically, but musically, I really liked this. I again, going back to that the funky R&B stuff, for me it's a very drum and bass thing. And when I can feel like I'm in that pocket with the drummer and the bass player and just grooving with it, I'm in a special place at that point. And I got that out of this album. Not to like an extreme level where it was mind blowing and life changing, but to a point that I enjoyed this album pretty decent.
Yeah, this is one that I ripped through pretty quickly on the first listen. And I don't have the experience with Marvin Gaye that many people do. Just in that, like, it wasn't music that was played a lot for me. Um, but obviously, I mean, if you're a music fan, how do you not know the name, right?
Hmm.
So I went in this album thinking like, oh, there's going to be songs on this that I know. Nope, there were
No,
not.
nope.
Um, so so it was kind of a cold call. Um, I agree with you. Like, I think if I listen to probably I think the back half of it again tonight. Um, and there were parts of it that almost felt familiar. Like they didn't register with me enough to be like, oh yeah, I remember this song. But like, it grooved to the
Hmm.
point where I was like, yeah, okay, I got it. Cool, this is fun. Um, my first listen, track 11, "A Funky Space Reincarnation," stuck out.
Yep.
It's just like kind of a goofy song, lyrically and soundscape wise, and like that. It was just interesting to me.
Hmm.
Um, it was also interesting as I was reading up on this one that this album was called "Bizarre and Uncommercial" when it was first released, and like, yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Especially when, like you said, you think about how it was written about his divorce. Half of the royalties from this album went to his ex-wife, which he
Hmm.
knew going into this. So, as I'm reading about this, the story of this seems like, and when I say seems like, it's I don't know all the details, but it seemed almost like that kind of record deal where it's like, hey, you've got, you owe us 3 albums,
Yeah.
right? Something like that.
Yeah.
It seems like when they got divorced, it was like he's gonna owe her royalties on maybe the contract he has right now,
Yeah.
almost as if that's money in the bank, right?
Hmm.
So it sounds like he went into the studio thinking like, all right, well, I gotta crank out these albums, and when this is your 15th album, like maybe that's just what you do anyways. But I gotta crank these out. So he called it like a nothing album at first, right? Saying like he literally quote said, where was it? Why should I break my neck when Anna was going to wind up with the money anyways? Like that was the mindset that he described himself like.
Went
I'm not
into
going to put a
yeah.
lot into this.
Yeah.
Which then he went on to say later, as he's doing it, is like I couldn't. I couldn't do that.
Couldn't. Yeah.
Like he's kind of went into it like, yeah, whatever, whatever, whatever. And then as he gets into it, he's like, no, this is my art, and this is my
I
music,
got
and
it.
I'm going to
Yeah.
put into it. Um, So, I mean, he also played, it says he played all the keyboard parts on the album, saying later they didn't plan it, but it just turned out to be a hands on project, which I didn't know he was that level of musician. Um, yeah, it was interesting. This album, as I mentioned before, like, the critics did not dig it when it came out. I think
Yeah.
because it was different and there was a lot of stream of consciousness in it, and, like, he's just processing through this. So I think when you
Hmm.
put the two things together, right, like that huge life changing event and at least the kernel of an idea at first, like I'm just going to put out music.
Hmm.
Yeah, commercially at the time, people expected one thing and they got something else. But what is it? Almost 50 years later. Do my man close to 50 years later, right?
Yeah.
26 years later. Like critics are like, yeah, this album's amazing. Like they
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
Which okay,
Yeah.
again, like I feel like I'm saying that a lot. I'm like, okay, I'll believe you. Like I don't have an argument. So you gave this album a 3?
I gave it a 3. Yeah.
Yeah,
Three
I
point
gave
five.
this.
Sorry, 3.5.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Good for you. I gave this one a 2. Um, Again, because I'm looking at some of these going like, would I return to this album to seek it out?
Hmm.
No, I would not. Okay. Would I, if it came up on shuffle? Like, would I be like, huh, and maybe skip it? I probably would in this one.
Hmm.
Now some of his other stuff probably not, but like this one, it was what it was.
Yeah.
Now that being said, if I listened to it a bunch more, I bet it would grow on me. So
Yeah.
that's how it works. Yeah. All right. So that was where is it? That was "Here, My Dear" from Marvin Gaye.
Hey, thanks for watching. We'd love to know what you think of this album, so let us know in the comments. Do you approve this groove? And as always, a quick thumbs up helps a lot. Subscribe so you can see all 500 albums, and we'll see you on the next record.